Why does a house that's been empty for just a couple of years fall into ruin? The older folks might say it's because it's lost its human presence, but physics gives us a far colder, more cosmic answer. The universe is actively eating away at order. As long as someone lives in a house, you sweep the floor, you fix the broken tiles, you close the windows against the rain. All these small actions are inputs of energy. You're fighting against chaos. The physicist Erwin Schrödinger once said that life feeds on negative entropy. To be alive is to be a machine of resistance, to forcibly maintain order in a world that is constantly sliding toward disorder. The moment you leave, the moment that energy input stops, a beast called entropy increase takes over. Dust settles on every surface. The wooden beams begin to rot. The paint on the walls starts to peel and crack. This isn't a failure. This is the universe's default setting. Now let's zoom out. Our entire universe is just like that house, a gigantic empty structure, one that is ultimately destined to be abandoned. The stars are its light bulbs. Gravity is its supporting frame. But one day all the bulbs will burn out and all the beams will collapse. The universe will become a perfectly still, stagnant sea. This is the concept known as heat death. But the story of how we get there contains both despair and a strange kind of hope. It all started in 1865, when the German physicist Rudolf Clausius discovered a loophole buried in the very foundation of the universe. He gave it a name: entropy. If you were to ask Albert Einstein which law of nature was absolutely unshakable, he wouldn't say relativity or even quantum mechanics. He would point to the second law of thermodynamics, the law of entropy increase. It's a curse of irreversibility. In any closed system, heat will always flow in one direction, from hot to cold. Order will always collapse into disorder. A shattered cup will never magically reassemble itself. A crumpled piece of paper will never smooth itself out. The arrow of time, the reason we move from past to future, is brutally locked in place by this single, unforgiving law. But the most terrifying part of the entropy law isn't the destruction it promises. It's the sheer, cold probability behind it. In 1887, Ludwig Boltzmann unveiled the microscopic nature of entropy. Imagine all the air molecules in the room you're in right now. What's the probability that all of them will suddenly rush into one single corner, leaving you in a vacuum? The calculation is 10 to the power of negative, 10 to the power of 38. It's not zero. But it's so close to impossible that you could wait for trillions of lifetimes and never see it happen. Chaos happens simply because there are infinitely more ways for things to be chaotic than for them to be ordered. Entropy isn't the universe actively trying to destroy you. It's just that destruction is statistically easier than existence. In this hopeless cosmic gamble, the very emergence of life seems like a miraculous cheat. In 1943, Schrödinger, in his book, What is Life?, argued that life, this incredibly complex, highly ordered structure, should not exist at all. The fact that we are here, alive, thinking, and watching this video is because we are relentlessly devouring negative entropy from the world around us. Every bite of food you take, every breath of oxygen you inhale, you're not just absorbing matter, we're absorbing order. We are like incredibly precise energy processors, constantly extracting structure from our environment to repair our decaying cells to maintain our body, a temperature, and to fight back against the natural law that wants to turn us back into simple, disorganized dust. But this isn't just a simple act of eating. It's a brutal energy loan. To maintain your body this complex, low-entropy structure weighing dozens of kilograms, you must release even more high-entropy waste back into the environment. Think of an air conditioner. Works by making your room cooler, a state of lower entropy. But to do that, the outdoor unit has to pump out an even greater amount of waste heat, increasing the total entropy of the entire street. Life works in exactly the same way. Through eating, breathing, and excreting, we take in low-entropy energy and convert it into high-entropy waste heat. We create these tiny local pockets of order, but in doing so, we actually accelerate the universe's overall march toward total disorder. You could almost say that life was invented by the universe as the most efficient catalyst for its own destruction. And all of this precious order, all of this negative entropy that fuels life on Earth, comes from a single source: the sun. Our sun isn't just a giant ball of energy, it's a stable, predictable stream of low entropy. Earth greedily feeds on this low-entropy flow, and from that energy it grows forests, powers ocean currents, and ultimately builds civilizations. But the sun will die? In about 5 billion years, its hydrogen fuel will start to run out. Its core will collapse and its outer layers will swell into a colossal red giant. It will swallow Mercury and Venus, and it will scorch the surface of the Earth. Our oceans will vaporize in minutes. The rocks will melt into a global ocean of magma. Humanity's home, this cradle of life, will be completely erased. And that is just the opening act of the universe's funeral. 10 billion years after that, the sun will shrink into a cold, dense white dwarf. And over unimaginable eons, it will cool down into a black dwarf of dead, invisible cosmic tombstone floating in the dark. As this happens, stars all across the night sky will begin to go dark, one by one. By the year 10 to the power of 14, the very last star will extinguish. The universe will finally fall into an eternal, starless night. But even that darkness is not the end. A deeper, more fundamental annihilation awaits. Matter itself can rot. Protons, the basic particles that make up your body, are thought to have a lifespan of about 10 to the power of 34 years. Given enough time, even a diamond will decay, melting away into a shower of radiation like ice under the sun. By the year 10 to the power of 40, all matter as we know, galaxies, planets, the remnants of life will have dissolved into a thin, uniform fog of photons and leptons. Only the black holes will remain, the final night watchmen of a dead cosmos. For a long time, we thought black holes were the ultimate endpoints, cosmic drains that devoured everything and gave nothing back, till 1972. When a physicist named Jacob Bekenstein boldly suggested that black holes have a temperature and, therefore, they also have entropy. This means that even they are not eternal. Through a process now known as Hawking radiation, black holes will slowly, incredibly slowly, evaporate over time. The most massive ones might take 10 to the power of 100 years to disappear, but eventually, they too will radiate away into nothing. And when the last black hole has vanished, that's it. The universe will finally reach its state of maximum entropy. A vast, silent, and unchanging void where temperature is uniform everywhere and nothing ever happens again. Time itself will lose all meaning. This is the heat death of the universe. From a vibrant house full of life and activity, to an abandoned ruin, to a pile of dust, to a faint memory, and then, to nothing at all. It's a bleak and terrifying destiny. But look around you. Look at the complexity of your own hand. Think about the incredible chain of events that led from the Big Bang to this very moment. We are living in the universe's glorious, vibrant, and fleeting springtime. We are the rebellion against the inevitable. We are the brief, beautiful, and impossible flicker of order in a cosmos destined for chaos. The end may be written, but the story is happening right now, and it is magnificent. Thank you for watching. If you found this journey to the end of time fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more explorations into the biggest questions of our universe. See you next time. 3 years later, Stephen Hawking proved it. He discovered that black holes aren't truly black, they evaporate. Through the strangeness of quantum uncertainty, pairs of particles and antiparticles are constantly popping into existence from the vacuum of space. If this happens right at the edge of a black hole's event horizon, one particle might fall in, while the other escapes. This escaping particle isn't free, though. It steals a tiny, tiny amount of mass energy from the black hole. This process is called Hawking radiation. This evaporation is agonizingly slow. For a supermassive black hole, it could take trillions upon trillions of years, far longer than the current age of the universe, but it's inevitable. Eventually, even the most massive black holes will radiate away into nothingness. And when the last black hole vanishes, the universe finally reaches its true end state: heat death. This isn't a fiery explosion or a catastrophic collapse. It's a state of perfect equilibrium. All temperatures across the cosmos become uniform. There's no heat flow, which means no work can be done. No stars can form, no planets can orbit, no events can occur. Time itself loses all meaning. a single second becomes indistinguishable from 100 billion years. It's not an explosion. It's not a collapse. It's something far more chilling forgetting. The universe forgets it once burned with brilliant stars, forgets it once created life, forgets it ever existed at all.
Well, all seven at the end, I'll round the waller.
If everything we build, everything we love, everything we are, will ultimately dissolve into a cold, featureless void, then what's the point of any of it? What's the meaning of our struggles, our joys, our very existence? But don't despair just yet. Because at the very edge of mathematics, the great Henry Poincaré left us a door, a possible escape from this ultimate oblivion. Poincaré proposed a fascinating idea known as the Poincaré recurrence theorem. In a closed and finite system, given an infinite amount of time, all the particles within that system will eventually return to a state arbitrarily close to their original positions. Think of it like this. The universe is a giant box, filled with a finite number of particles, roughly 10 to the power of 82. If you give these particles an infinite amount of time to bounce around randomly, they will eventually, through sheer chance, arrange themselves back into the exact configuration they are in right now. This means at this very moment, you listening to these words, the specific thoughts in your head, the light in your room could be replicated. In 2018, researchers at the University of Vienna even observed a version of this phenomenon in controlled quantum systems. If this theorem applies to the whole universe, it paints a staggering picture. Everything you experience, your confusion, your mistakes, your greatest loves, your most painful losses, may have already happened countless times in the deep past and will happen again countless times in the far future. The universe might not be a straight line heading towards death, but a vast, eternal cycle of recurrence. This isn't a hymn to fatalism. It doesn't mean we're just puppets on a string, destined to repeat our lives without choice. Instead, it's a profound celebration of the present moment. Whether the universe ends in a final heat death or repeats in an eternal cycle, the conclusion is the same. Meaning isn't found in the destination, but in the journey itself. Let's talk about entropy. High entropy means eternal, featureless chaos. Low entropy means primitive, boring simplicity. It is only during the brief, fleeting plunge from low entropy to high entropy that all the magic happens. It's in this cosmic waterfall that structure, complexity, life, consciousness, and civilization can emerge. We are like drops of milk falling into a cup of hot tea. Individually, the drops are simple. The tea is simple, but for that one beautiful transient moment of mixing, they create these intricate, swirling patterns of complexity. The low entropy state of separation is gone. The high entropy state of a uniform mixture will last forever. But the fleeting complexity in between is the universe's most magnificent poem, and we are living in that poem. This raises a huge question. Have you ever wondered why the universe didn't just start in a state of heat death? Why did it begin with such an incredibly ordered low entropy state? In 2004, the brilliant Oxford physicist Roger Penrose decided to calculate the odds. The number he came up with is so fantastically small it's hard to wrap your head around. The probability of our universe's specific initial state was 1 in 10 to the power of 10 to the power of 123. How small is that? Let's try to put it in perspective. Imagine a monkey randomly typing on a keyboard. The probability of that monkey accidentally typing out the entire complete works of William Shakespeare is astronomically low. But compared to the probability of our universe's beginning, the monkey typing Shakespeare is practically a certainty. In other words, the existence of our universe with its capacity for structure and life, is a miracle that by all statistical rights should not have occurred. And you are a miracle within that miracle. Think about it. Every single carbon atom that makes up your body was once forged in the heart of a dying star. The iron flowing in your blood was created in the unimaginable violence of a supernova explosion billions of years ago. You were literally made of stardust. In this desolate cosmos, spanning billions of light years and billions of years, you, a being of staggeringly low entropy, opened your eyes, felt the warmth of sunlight on your skin, and developed a consciousness capable of understanding the very concept of entropy. This alone is a probability stacked on top of a probability. It is an event of cosmic significance. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche stared into this same void of potential meaninglessness and offered his powerful answer: amor fati. This is Latin for the love of one's fate, not just acceptance, but love. To love everything that happens, every joy and every pain, every success and every failure, every absurd twist of existence. He posed a challenge. If you were told that you had to live this exact same life over and over again for all eternity, with the same happiness and the same sorrow, the same meetings and the same goodbyes, would you fall into despair, or would you shout yes? If your answer is yes, you have defeated nothingness. You have found meaning not in some grand external purpose, but within the fabric of your own lived experience. Our parents gave us the gift of life. Our friends and loved ones give us the strength of hope. These are the weapons with which we fight against the encroaching void. We cannot change the universe's final ending. But during this brief, brilliant fall from order to chaos, we can choose to burn as brightly as we possibly can. Our individual lives may seem as small and insignificant as ants in the grand scheme of things, but our hearts can carry the ambition of eagles. Our existence may be as fragile as paper, but our spirit must refuse to bend. Even if the entire universe will one day go dark and cold, that day is not today. Right now, in this moment, we are here, and we shine. Thanks for watching. If this made you think? Consider subscribing for more journeys into the cosmos and the meaning of our place within it.